Inside of today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys a top 10 meta ranking video. The meta's only really been developed for about a day, but hopefully with all the experience of me just grinding so much, especially considering I've already got gold mastery Pam, you know, I've hopefully got a lot of tips that you guys can take into this pretty wacky meta. So before we get into it, make sure you're using the create code in the shop. That'd be greatly appreciated. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. So start off with the 10th best brawler within this meta, we have Lou. So you might be really surprised by this one, but hear me out on this, because Lou already before this update was starting to make a massive rise in the rankings, in play rates, especially within NA. He was used so much, his win rates were sky high, and trust me, he's even better within this meta because there's a lot more tanks. His super's going to get a lot more value out of the walls, so I think Lou is just insane. So he's pretty much the best brawler inside of Hot Zone. You know, the new gear just allows you to cycle super so incredibly quick, and he can just stun lock, well, freeze lock people pretty much all of the time. So that's why I think Lou is such a fantastic brawler. If anything, he's got even better with the last update as well, as I mentioned, because there's just so many tanks. So of course Lou's gonna thrive even more. You know, Brawl, been seeing him used as a mid a lot of times. He can shut down a lot of different compositions, and when you're thinking of the draft, you know, he can cover pretty much all bases. A good Lou can win pretty much any mid, but not only that, just shut down an entire lane. His super's one of the best inside of the game as well, so you know, you're gonna have to try it out for yourself. Lou is definitely one of the better brawlers within this meta. So next up, as the 9th best brawler within this meta, we have Surge. So Surge, this is more prediction, of course. Again, the meta's only been developed for literally a day, so give it a week and I'll do a more defined top 10 rankings. But this is more so kind of a prediction and just a feeling of how the meta is right now. But Surge, for me, has to be one of the better brawlers within the game. You know, of course, he can shut down tanks pretty well. Not only that, his super's going to get a lot of value out of just unbreakable walls, right? Of course, the super can jump over them, and also once it gets the super, he can eventually counter those throwers. So of course the meta is going to depend a lot on the map and whatever you play when it comes down to ladder, because, you know, for example, yesterday field goal throwers were just so incredibly dominant. Like literally Dynamite felt like the best brawler inside of the game, but now on a bit more of an open map and a lot more of different game modes after trying out Power League, definitely feel like throwers aren't as good, and Surge is so strong. So next up, as the 8th best brawler within the meta, we have Janet. So still, even though tanks have risen in popularity quite a fair bit, also throwers as well, I still feel like Janet is a top 10 brawler. So I actually feel like the top 10 brawlers haven't really changed too much from the previous meta. I've been watching a bunch of tournaments and scrims, so you probably see they're about the same brawlers within the top 10 overall. But of course, those tanks are going to be proving a lot stronger overall. But yeah, Janet's still really good. The reason why she's so good, she's just pretty much good into everything. Her with the vision gear is just good in every single mode and setting, to be honest. A good Janet can make good use of every single composition in the game. I've seen it in competitive, you know, just Janet just run through literally everyone. So still, even though she may struggle on ladders sometimes against those like really tanky oppositions, when it comes down to Power League, she's still a fantastic pick. So next up, as the 7th best brawler within the game right now, we have Max. So again, Max still one of the best brawlers within the game. She received no nerfs, and to be honest, other than unbreakable walls, there wasn't really a lot of balance changes to really shift up the meta completely on its own. You're like, a lot of you guys probably expected, I don't know, like some throwers to be literally right at the top, maybe some tanks to be right at the top, but for that to happen, really there needs to be more than unbreakable walls. There needs to be a lot of balance changes. So maybe in the mid update, when there's some balance changes, probably we'll see a bigger shift in the meta. But overall, as of right now, I feel like Max is still one of the best brawlers inside of the game. Her utility is just insane. She also combines really well with some really strong meta brawlers right now. Sandy and Ems are starting to become some of the better brawlers within the game just because of unbreakable walls. You know, you pair Max with some aggro brawlers or Sandy and Ems, and it's just so strong. So next up, as his 6th best brawler within the game right now, we have Poco. So you might be thinking, well, Poco, he receives a nerf, so surely he's got to be worse. If anything, this meta just makes him even stronger. So Poco, without that nerf, I actually thought it probably would have been the best brawler within the game just because of his unbreakable walls, the synergy he has with all the aggressive brawlers. But not only that, he already was one of the better brawlers within the game. So I still feel like he's a top 10 brawler for sure. After playing a bunch of Hot Zone, a bunch of Brawl, you know, it just feels so hard to take down a lot of the times. A good Poco can always survive, get into your face, get that screeching solo. And again, even though he received a health nerf, I don't think that really did too much. The big problem with Poco is ultimately his damage. He just provides so much damage for how easy he is to use. So next up, as the 5th best brawler in the game right now, we have Sam. So again, Sam received a small nerf. It did definitely nerf him in terms of facing the more squishier brawlers, but still, I think he's one of the best brawlers in the game easily right now. Again, I've been watching some competitive, and Sam on some certain maps where there's a couple of unbreakable walls is just unstoppable. Because let's face it, you know, maybe the opponent breaks some of the walls down the right hand side, for example, on pinhole. There's still a lot of unbreakable walls where you can just keep throwing your super against the wall over and over again. And, you know, the enemies are forced to literally pinch you out, but then your teammates can then help you in that instance. You know, just the pressure alone with Sam is just absolutely insane. You've seen him used so much. The win rates on Sam are still sky high, in my opinion, and he has to be one of the best brawlers in the game easily right now. So next up, as the 4th best brawler in the game right now, I have Ash. So Ash still continues to be one of the best brawlers in the game. You know, you'd think that the meta would switch up a little bit, but if anything, the meta it's just helped him out even more. He hasn't received any nerfs somehow, and he still is one of the best brawlers in the game easily. Unbreakable walls, of course, going to help out Ash even more so, and it feels so hard to actually counter an Ash right now. You got to think, even wall break compositions, you know, you're going to struggle to actually counter him with. Normally the way to counter him, you know, you get like a Griff or a Ruffs or something, break open the map as much as possible, and with time you can slowly start to counter him. But now it just feels pretty much impossible. A good Ash can just completely wreck you in this meta. I've still seen him pretty much everywhere, and especially on maps like Canal Grande, for example, I've seen Ash literally 1v3, because how do you stop him? You can't break any of his walls. He's just going to absolutely destroy you. So next up, as the 3rd best brawler within the game right now, we have Penny. So even though, again, tanks, throwers are a lot more prevalent, I still feel like in the draft anyways, from what I've seen, Penny's still a really strong brawler, just because, again, she's really good at everything. She somehow, again, didn't get nerfed with her last set of balance changes, and her turret is still really strong. Her gadget really helps her defend herself against those tankier brawlers, and you're just pretty safe to go with Penny no matter what, because you can play her as a lane, play her as a mid. She's super versatile, and still those walls are going to help her out if anything, because there's a lot more safer place to put her turrets. So for me, she's still one of the strongest brawlers in the game. So next up, as the 2nd best brawler within the game right now, we have Otis. So again, Otis was nerfed, but I still think he's one of the better brawlers within the game. He only received a small HP nerf. Again, I don't think that was really the problem with Otis. It has to be his consistent damage and the constant muting, because of course he's good against literally everything. He's got the range, he's got the damage, and of course he has the super to deal with those tankier brawlers. And as tanks become more and more prevalent, Otis just becomes more and more stronger unless you nerf his damage. So for me, he has to be a number 1 brawler or a number 2 brawler, just because of his versatility. I may sound really boring by saying that, but again, just so good. You can also use like the vision gear to scout out the grass just really easily, just allow your teammates to push up even easier as well. So yeah, Otis still feels incredibly strong. It definitely is his type of meta. So moving on to the best brawler within the game right now, I have Bee. So Bee, even though unbreakable walls may not be her strongest point, because of course Bee just thrives even more with an open map, I just still think she's incredibly strong, because again, tanks are pretty prevalent. Bee can literally 1v3 tanks even with a lot of walls. She's one of the strongest at countering them, so I think she's still incredibly strong. And when it comes to brawlers that are really frustrating me within the past few days when I'm pushing Pam, not only Pam, just in general, Bee just feels like she can just completely shut down a whole composition. She's so incredibly strong. I don't think she's as strong when it comes down to the Power League format, but when you're talking just a 3v3 ladder, she's just running the show at the moment. Literally anyone can pretty much play Bee right now. I just feel like even the worst of players is just still destroying me when it comes down to Bee. So of course her constant damage output, her slows, 3k shots, 4k shots, just too much right now. She definitely deserves a nerf. She's just running the meta. Alright guys, it's going to be it for today's video. Let me know what you think of my top 10. Of course, this is just off a first glance. You know, literally a day isn't enough to really define a meta, but after playing the game literally probably even more than 12 hours, probably like 16 hours, I feel like I've got a decent understanding of meta. The only thing is I haven't played too much Power League, so take it with a little bit of grain of salt. But quickly, I'll go through some of the brawlers which are definitely making a lot more of a comeback when I see them. So like Primo, for example, Nita, 2 really good brawlers. You've got to think of brawlers that are really good with walls. So, you know, Barley getting a lot stronger. Dynamite, I've seen a lot of the time. Rico definitely getting a lot stronger within this meta. Carl's still pretty decent. Jackie can be really strong on some maps. You know, Ems is one of the big ones I want to point out. I think Ems could near enough be like a top 15 even top 10 brawler in the future. So watch out for Ems. I think she's incredibly strong right now. Trying to think of some of its, Tara's feeling a little bit decent. Crow's good. Sandy is definitely making a lot more of a comeback because of that damage buff. And then trying to think of some other ones off the top of my head. Buzz still pretty decent overall, but yeah, for me, watch out for the Ems and Sandy. They're definitely making a strong comeback in the meta. But that's going to be it for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.